You're watching First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW and live on YouTube with Lauren Munt and weather with Tom Tiefertiller.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here for First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW. And thanks to those of you joining us live on our First Alert 7 YouTube page. I'm Jay Hendricks in for Lauren Munt. As Midland continues to grow, so does the number of vehicles on the roads. That results in crashes, and fatal crashes also increasing. That's why the Midland Police Department decided to create the Safe Passage Initiative. The new program focuses mostly on Midland's most dangerous intersections. MPD has found 11 intersections as hotspots for collisions, so now the police department has placed highly visible officers at the intersections. This has resulted in a noticeable decrease in traffic collisions.
Our fatalities, we're down 42% from last year at this time as well. The accidents involving injuries are down 38% as well. So all the numbers are down. And all the numbers concerning traffic stops have increased quite a bit.
Since the kickoff on June 17th, MPD has conducted about 2,000 traffic stops, issued over 1,000 tickets, and made 48 arrests in relation to traffic violations. Yesterday, an Odessa man was awarded $262.5 million by a jury in Odessa after being left a quadriplegic by a drunk driver back in 2021. Earlier today, his attorneys, Glasheen, Vyas, and Enderman injury lawyers of Odessa, held a news conference to talk about how this lawsuit has impacted Isaac and his family. Isaac Sanchez was hit from behind by a drunk driver while stopped at the intersection of Yukon and Andrews Highway in Odessa, leaving him paralyzed in all four limbs. The lawsuit was brought together against Lynx Food and Beverages LLC, doing business as Lynx Bar and Grill, for over-serving the drunk driver.
This drunk driving epidemic in the Permian has just got to stop. And look, the drunk drivers, they get dealt with in the criminal process, and maybe some things need to change there too.
Isaac's parents, Ruben and Patsy Sanchez, have been taking care of him and his son since the crash.
Mentally, emotionally, it's been very trying. Thankfully, we've had faith to maintain our buoyancy and keep us moving forward. But it's been very challenging. One of us has to stay with Isaac while the other one goes to the grocery store.
Isaac's family and attorneys say they have hopes that this case sends a message to the Midland and Odessa communities about drunk driving and restaurants and bars over-serving customers. We recently covered a lot of the stories on the Ranchland Hills Golf Course saga as Midlanders who want to save the Ranchland Golf Course make their voices heard. But tonight, in a First Alert 7 exclusive interview, an MISD parent is speaking out, saying they feel the school needs to be built on the proposed land. All right, we're going to take a pause here. We're having a little technical difficulties. We're going to talk your weather forecast first. Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller joins us now with a look at your forecast, and a pretty good forecast. Tom?
We're wrapping up a great day across West Texas as low humidity levels have kept temperatures nice. And we look at the satellite and radar view, not a lot happening today. Lots of cloud-free skies for the most part. The showers, thunder showers got as close as north central New Mexico, and it looks like that's where they're going to stay. We may see a couple of high clouds from that drift in coming up across southeast New Mexico this weekend, but overall looking at pretty quiet conditions on the way. Temperatures today across the West Texas area warmed up a little bit into the low 90s across many locations this afternoon, topping out at 89 out at the Middle National Air and Spaceport. So again, we did see some readings warm up a little bit above seasonable levels, but as we move in towards the rest of tonight, we are expecting those temperatures to drop down into the lower 60s out there, as we're expecting pretty quiet conditions in our forecast. And it looks like more of this is on the way as we move in towards the rest of the weekend and into next week. We'll talk more about that here coming up in just a few minutes.
Tom, thank you. As we just told you a few minutes ago, there are some Midlanders who have been trying to save Ranchland Hills Golf Course by making their voices heard. Tonight, in a First Alert 7 exclusive interview, an MISD parent speaking out saying they feel that school needs to be built on the proposed land.
It's time to invest in the next generation. I understand that they're losing a golf course, but I also understand that over 4,000 students will walk through those halls every day forever.
In 2019, the Midland Independent School District purchased the Ranchland property, all with the intent of building a school.
The members have had 5 years to enjoy Ranchland Hills. During those 5 years, the school board could have raised that golf course to the ground, and I have never heard them express any gratitude to the school board for allowing them those 5 years. And instead, they've been trying to pit the city of Midland against the school board and their recent actions.
With all the time that's passed, Reagan feels that the efforts of the Save Ranchland Hills group are too little, too late.
There's just been plenty of time and opportunity to do something about it and go about it in a more prudent manner. So at some point, every leader has to make a decision. Otherwise, we'll entertain proposals forever. And we've had 60 months where proposals could have been presented, and it's only been in the last 6 months that proposals have actually been presented.
The funds to actually build the new high school were approved through a bond in 2023.
The fact that the bond passed means that an overwhelming majority of voters were perfectly fine and approved of that location. So their excuse is that they didn't believe that the bond was going to pass. But in 2019, the bond failed by only 26 votes, which is a razor-thin margin. And this go around, the bond passed with almost 60% of the voters voting in favor of the high school and the site that it was going to be built on.
Just days before Ranchland Hills is set to close, supporters have thrown what some may call a Hail Mary, finding a decades-old city ordinance that states the land that Ranchland sits on can only be used as a golf course. But MISD responded to that ordinance, saying that state law actually allows the district to be exempt from certain zoning laws.
Multiple cases where school districts or city governments have been able to get exemptions from city codes. So, I mean, they'd have to take that up with the state of Texas. As far as the school district, I mean, they're just operating in the manner that they're allowed to.
Now, a lawsuit could cause a serious delay in construction. And Midland ISD explains that, saying it would, quote, equate to a projected $2.4 million increase in construction costs every month to deliver on the same projects that were promised to the Midland community following the approval of the bond in November of 2023. MISD added that they have also saved taxpayers millions. That's through the recent bond sale that was compared to planning estimates. The district went on to say that they look forward to the upcoming groundbreakings for the new high school campuses that will take place in the summer of 2025 and welcoming students and staff in 2028.
That was Lauren Munt reporting. Beltone continuing its mission to provide hearing aids to people in need. Today, Paul Jansen, a local World War II veteran, was given a pair just a few days after his 98th birthday on Monday. He was drafted at the age of 18 and had the choice between joining the Army or the Navy. He chose the Navy and served as a U.S. Navy Seabee. Seabees were a construction force that built and maintained naval infrastructure and provided support to other military forces. Paul's role included uploading supplies for soldiers in the field.
That small ship caught fire, and there I was, middle of an explosion. That kind of singed my face, but it didn't hurt me none. But after that, well, like I said, that's all we did is unload cargo ships for the people out there that really needed it.
As the primary caregiver for his wife, Paul needed hearing aids that would allow him to hear comfortably while sleeping in case she needed his help. Paul received new rechargeable Bluetooth-enabled hearing aids, including LE Bluetooth, which can connect to a computer if needed.
I heard birds for the first time in a long time. I was able to talk to my grandkids. I was able to talk to, it really changes their lives to be able to hear and be part of the conversation. When we can give that back, that's incredible to be able to do that. It's the best job in the world.
The hearing aids are also the smallest behind-the-ear hearing aids on the market, made possible by the Beltone Foundation. Congratulations on getting those. The 2024 Special Olympics Texas Fall Classic is happening next week right here in the Midland-Odessa area, and there is still a need for volunteers. You can sign up by going to the Special Olympics website at the web address you see right there on your screen. Volunteers will help the athletes and those watching have a good time at the games. Athletes will be competing in bocce, golf, softball, swimming, and fundamental sports at the Basin Sports Complex at UTPB and at the COM Aquatics, as well as the Hogan Park Golf Course. The Blankenship Field upgrades next to Big Spring High School are now complete. We want to give you a look at what that looks like. These are pictures thanks to our partners at KBS Media. New turf was added to the field so that the Big Spring High School soccer teams could practice there, as well as new goalposts and pads. Big Spring ISD superintendent told KBS Media the field would benefit multiple high school programs that use it and that the community can use it as well. If you are looking for something to do this weekend, the Bush family home, a state historic site, is going to be part of Worldwide Day of Play on Saturday, tomorrow morning. The Bush home is giving West Texans the chance to play the games that the Bush family played back in the 1950s. That would include marbles, jacks, hopscotch, croquet, hula hoop, and much more. The Worldwide Day of Play encourages families to turn off electronic devices and have a fun learning experience by playing outdoors.
Children have come to me and said that they didn't know how fun certain games were. And that's kind of what we're after as well. People don't know how fun it is to play old games and that. And so that's exactly what we want to do, as well as to introduce hopefully new games.
There will also be a telephone book race for people to enjoy. The event starts at 10 in the morning and will run until 3 in the afternoon. Tomorrow from 9 a.m. to noon, Midland Health Services is doing its last back-to-school vaccine clinic. You have to call to schedule an appointment, and you can see that number right there on your screen. Midland Health has offered these clinics throughout August and September, but once again, tomorrow is the last vaccine clinic. A Midland pastor gave the opening prayer in Congress today. Congressman August Pfluger recommended Pastor Darren Wood of First Baptist Church of Midland to serve as a guest chaplain, and as such, he got to give the prayer. Congressman Pfluger says Pastor Wood delivered a message of hope while at the Capitol. Still to come tonight, the death toll continues to rise as Hurricane Helene continues to move across the southeast. We have the latest up next here at 9. Tropical storm Helene is wreaking havoc across the southeast, dumping rain and causing widespread flooding. This after it came ashore along Florida's Gulf Coast as a major hurricane. Authorities say more than 24 people have died. CBS's Tom Hansen has the latest.
Entire houses are missing or flattened in on themselves. Michael Presley Bobbitt captured these images of Cedar Key this morning, just south of where Hurricane Helene slammed into Florida as a Category 4 storm, packing sustained winds of up to 140 miles per hour and a 15-foot storm surge.
Say a prayer, friends.
Despite orders to evacuate, Bobbitt rode out the storm, checking on his community.
I was trying to make it to my mama's house, but it's neck deep here. I'm not able to get any further.
Florida's governor says there were thousands of rescue missions overnight. This team in South Pasadena called out for people who might need help when several homes caught fire. Helene is the third hurricane to hit the Big Bend region of Florida in the last 13 months.
The damage in those counties that were really in the eye of the storm has exceeded the damage of Idalia and Debbie combined.
Storm surge engulfed much of Florida's western coastline, but Tampa General Hospital stayed dry, surrounded by a flood prevention wall. Flooding is widespread, including farther north into Georgia. Overnight in Atlanta, rescue teams brought a couple, their baby, and 2 dogs to safety.
With this one, the vehicle was traveling in through the water, and the vehicle started to float, and it floated off the roadway. They were able to get out of the vehicle and get on top of the vehicle.
Helene's high winds also knocked out power to an estimated 3 million customers all across the southeast. Even as Helene is weakening, it's still a threat to communities in the Carolinas and Tennessee. Unicoi County Hospital in Tennessee is reporting at least 50 people are on the roof waiting for rescue after flooding cut the facility off from land. Tom Hansen, CBS News, Tallahassee, Florida.
Well, expecting more of the same in the forecast as the nice weather continues. We'll take a look at it coming up next.
Now, from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, let's take a look at the weather makers as we're enjoying, again, great conditions out there. Very quiet weather conditions as we're kind of caught in between systems right now. So in the middle, high pressures in control of our weather. We have this north to south flow in the upper levels, bringing all this red, orange color. That's dry air in place across the state of Texas, really. Now, here is Tropical Depression Helene. It's been downgraded quite a bit as it has zipped from the Florida Panhandle through Georgia into the Carolinas, Tennessee, back into Kentucky, and now spinning across western Tennessee and Kentucky with very heavy rainfall. in the Ohio Valley, mid-Mississippi Valley into the Arkla Mist this afternoon and evening. And it looks like that's going to kind of sputter around in kind of the same location, so increasing the flood threat for those areas, but no effects really on the state of Texas other than maybe a few high clouds across the northeast corner of the state. For us, we're going to be looking at more of the same in the forecast as, again, we're seeing on the satellite and radar view most of the rain across portions of the middle Mississippi Valley again. And we also saw a little disturbance bring some showers, thunder showers in those higher elevations of northern New Mexico. We may see a few clouds from it drift across southeast New Mexico, maybe even into the Permian Basin, but overall pretty quiet conditions. As across the state, we warmed up a little bit out there with temperatures again into the mid to lower 90s in many locations, again topping out in the upper 80s to low 90s across the Permian Basin. 84 in and around portions of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Futurecast, again, not a lot happening here. Again, some of the high clouds may drift across portions of southeast New Mexico. Really about it as high pressure is really in control of the weather. So that combined with the light winds and the low humidity levels allowing for some big temperature spreads here over the next couple of days, but not a lot in the way of cloud cover. Again, a few high clouds may drift in across Sunday across the area. But overall, though, looking at pretty quiet conditions in our forecast for the weekend. Try to get out there and enjoy it. Tonight, we're going to be looking at those temperatures again into the lower 60s. Some areas like Big Lake down into the upper 50s overnight tonight, 59 in Hobbs, with a light east wind. And then for tomorrow, we're going to be looking at those temperatures again into the upper 80s to low 90s across the area, with a light northeast to north wind as a weak trough moves through the area, but nothing more than really a wind shift in our forecast. And your First Alert 7 10-day forecast again shows you make those weekend plans because the weather's going to be working with you. And then next week, we're going to see more of the same. High pressure won't let up. We're going to see that north to south flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So temperatures only into the mid 80s coming up with that next front on Wednesday. But overall, a pretty quiet forecast looks to be on the way for the next 10 days with no rain in sight.
Coming up next here at 9 is Friday night, which means high school football night. We take a look at some of our local games after the break. Friday Night Football is happening right now. Our First Alert 7 team is scattered all across the Permian Basin for those games. In fact, let's take a look. At historic Ratliff Stadium, the Permian Panthers welcome an unusual opponent to West Texas. That's Carver Birmingham from Alabama. Just like Permian, Carver is undefeated so far this season. Now, that doesn't intimidate Mojo. They've had their share of battles to begin the season. Permian head coach Jeff Ellison has kept his eye on tonight's counterpart and wants his team to remain disciplined as they are set to kick off.
They're a very talented football team. They got a lot of speed on the edge offensively and in the secondary, and they're a good football team. We want our football team to improve, and so as far as our technique and our execution, that's what we're focused on.
By the way, Permian up big right now. Over in the Tull City, a private school, Midland Christian takes on the 6A Friendship Tigers. Yes, you heard that right. Mustangs are 1-3 this season with their only win coming against Bishop Lynch in week 2. Friendship Tigers are 3-1. Friendship has scored 233 points over their 4 games this year. That's an average of 58 points per game. It poses an exciting challenge for head coach Chris Cunningham and his team.
You know, there's really not a weak point to the game, so we're going to have to take ourselves to a level, you know, talking about their offense, a level defensively that hasn't been required of us yet, and that we haven't met yet. But that's the way we're looking at this week, is it's an opportunity to rise up and play to that level, and we're excited about it.
By the way, this is a close one. It is still going on. This will also be the first of a 5-game stretch for Friendship of playing Midland and Odessa teams. Tonight, tune into the Blitz on First Alert 7 for highlights from all of these games and more. Plus, we invite you to stick around on our YouTube page for the Blitz extended version. That is where our sports team takes an in-depth look at all of those games. So, again, we invite you to join us later tonight. So, of these games when we come back. All right, before we go, let's take a look at some of the scores tonight that we have so far. There you can see on your screen. These are some of the games we are following for you tonight. Greenwood is leading there. Monahans and Andrews playing tonight. Permian will get all of your scores and highlights coming up tonight on First Alert 7 News at 10.